Okay.
All right, I'm trying to put my video on here. And it's not just you. Hi. Awesome.
That's okay. We can do it like it's like a real like webinar thing.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Tammy Joho with us, who did I pronounce your last name correct?
You did.
Who is one of two of our brew day coordinators. If you want to tell everyone what that means, Tammy, and just explain your role with Pink Boots.
Yeah, so basically that means if you have any questions about brew day, the collab brew day, you would email us. My counterpart Jen I'm in Ontario, Jen is in Alberta. She's on vacation though, so it's me today. But you can email us at brewing@pinkbootscanada.ca, and basically we just sort of keep track of like all the registrations we get, the donations, you know, dates when people are brewing, things like that, so we can promote it. So basically anything that has to do with the collab brew day is kind of what Jen and I take care of. So yeah, that's kind of what that means. And it is sort of nice that there's two of us this year. Usually there's one, or there has been one historically, but now there's two of us, like in different time zones, different parts of the country. So hopefully we can get you answers faster, because we both check the same email and everything. So yeah, I hope that kind of explains that.
Yeah, great. So we're just going to go through kind of the top questions that people make when choosing to do a Pink Boots brew. So in terms of participating, how do you participate?
So basically, there's kind of two main ways you can join in the fun. So every year, Yakima Chief, the hop supplier, they create a Pink Boots blend. And what they do is for every pound that they sell, and unfortunately they only have certain size bags. It's like the 11 pound or the bigger ones. But every pound that they sell, they donate $3 back to Pink Boots national. So that's US. So if you buy the hops, you're already kind of by way of that making a donation to Pink Boots overall. And then you can also register for the brew day itself. And that basically just means that you commit to making a beer, and you kind of give us the information on when it's happening, and what sort of events you're holding around that beer and that release, and then we'll promote it. And hopefully we'll visit on your brew day if that's applicable and we're able to. But then basically when you release your beer or your product, it doesn't have to be a beer, but whenever your product comes out, you make a commitment to donate a portion of those sales back to Pink Boots as well. So it's kind of important to realize that there's two different avenues. So you can just buy the hops and then not do the brew day, or you can do the brew day and you don't have to use the hops. So whatever works, best for you, you can do both, which is awesome. It is kind of important for us in Canada to realize and to understand that when you buy the hops, that donation goes to the US. And if you register for a brew day, like through Pink Boots, and you do all the official stuff and you make a donation to Canada as well, we only get 50% of that as a chapter. So that's why it's really important when you do register that you choose Canada as your chapter for the donation, because we're really only getting a portion of it. And so we'd like to keep as much of that in Canada as we can for our members.
Awesome. So how do I go about buying the hops?
So where we are, the best place you can order the hops is directly through Yakima Chief. And what they've actually done recently, which is really nice, is that they've opened a warehouse in South Shore of Montreal. So you can order from the Yakima Chief reps in Canada, and you can get it shipped from within Canada, and you can get it, you can pay in Canadian dollars. So you're not have to worry about, coming across the border, paying duty, etc., or taking forever. So you can order through Yakima Chief, and I do have a contact for kind of like Ontario all the way to BC, that rep for Yakima Chief. And then you can also order through Canada Malt, which is part of Country Malt, I want to say. And so that's just like another ingredient supplier. And those are the two main ones in Canada right now that offer the hops for us.
And what is the best way for me to register for a brew day?
So you're going to go to the Pink Boots, the main website. So not the Pink Boots Canada website. It's pinkbootssociety.org. And you'll see some tabs at the top. And one of them, I believe, just says brew days. And then you'll see something that says like register for a brew day. And you kind of just follow the prompts. So, it'll ask you, like, when do you think you might have your brew day? Who's the contact person? What are your social media accounts? Which chapter are you affiliated with? Like that kind of thing. So it just kind of takes you through the process. And then at the very end, like you should get a confirmation with all of that you just entered. And then we will actually get sent either an email, or we'll see it on our web, our portal, our board portal that you've registered. So if anyone has any questions about how to register, like just email us, but it's pretty straightforward. I think people just get confused when it comes to the questions like, is it chapter or not chapter? Is it who do you choose as your donation chapter? Or like help, do you need, they ask a question about like, do you need the hops? And if you click no, that doesn't mean they're going to send you the hops. It's just like, they want to know if you've already ordered them. So there's some questions there that are kind of tricky for people, but basically it's pretty straightforward. And if you like need any help at all, like we're here to walk you through it.
I guess that brings us to, do we have to brew on any specific days? Historically, you brewed on Women's Day, or you released a beer on Women's Day?
Yeah.
Still the case?
Yeah. No, you can do any time of the year. And we're sort of moving away from Women's Day in general as like that brew day, mostly because we want it to like fully represent our members who maybe don't identify, with Women's Day, or, our non-binary individual members. So the other thing is that everyone's releasing, like everyone wants to brew on Women's Day. And so then it's like, there's 20 brew days going on, or the beers are all coming out at one time. And then you get like a month down the road and then there's like no beers. So we want to just kind of like spread out that, that momentum and that interest like throughout the year. So we're highly encouraging people to brew at any time of the year. You can, you could do like a really fun dark beer in the winter. And honestly, speaking of winter, I know a lot of us are still dealing with winter right now. So I know last year, like we had basically a blizzard, and it was like, should we cancel? Should we keep going? But it's like, it's in March. So it's like, it's Canada, So if you do it further down the line in the year, you might have a nicer brew day. Yeah, so you can brew anytime, and you can brew more than one time if you wanted. If you wanted to do a couple different beers, or cider, or whatever you're going to make, you could do a few throughout the year if you really wanted to.
Well, what if I brewed last year, hops left over?
Mm-hmm.
Use those hops and brew this year and call it the same thing?
My understanding would be no, mainly because every year it's a different blend. So Pink Boots members throughout like the world even get together every year, and we do like a hop rub, and we kind of give our input on what the blend should be. So it's a different blend every year. Also, I would just maybe not recommend using them anyway if they're a year old. But basically it's like, we are trying to support like the program with Yakima Chief. And so, if you bought the hops last year, that money was already donated. So now it's another year, and we're doing the same thing. So that wouldn't be something that we would encourage. I'm sure it happens, but that's really not the way that like the program is intended.
Okay. Where does the money go? The money that was raised or donated?
Yeah, so it goes back to Pink Boots for the members. And so a lot of it covers like scholarships. So there's like a range of scholarships that we have, you know, classes that are online. We have, you know, things that are in person. Some include travel. So basically a lot of this money goes to fund that continuing education for our members, and also to allow us to, you know, have a budget so that we can be visible in the community, and you know, we can go to places and we can, you know, hand out a sticker or a little business card, that kind of thing. So it basically just kind of helps like fund the program, the organization.
Are there any other rules that you think that are important to note in terms of the brew days, or even packaging, or anything that goes along with the whole thing?
The whole tamale. Yeah. So basically, when you register officially for Brew Day, you should get an email with like marketing information and the appropriate language that you use surrounding your brew day. There will also be what's it called? When everyone comes together and you all agree, a code of conduct. So basically it's like they just want to ensure that whenever your event is happening, you know, you have a safe space for your guests that are coming to brew with you. So there's a code of conduct. You'll get the logos and the verbiage for your packaging, because it's a special logo for the brew day. It's not the same as the regular Pink Boots logo. So it's got the correct wording. And then for us, we actually very soon are going to have all of that available in French for our Eastern Canadian friends. So it's very important to use the appropriate you know, marketing information when you're putting that out there. So that's a big thing. Another thing, let's see, what else would you want to have to do? I mean, there's nothing really like hard and fast, but I know a lot of places will try to do some more educational type things on their brew day, because especially if you're making beer, there's a lot of waiting around. And so they'll try to do like sensory panels, or you know, beer tastings, or have a speaker come in, that kind of thing. So like whatever you could do as a host of a brew day to make it more beneficial for your attendees is amazing. And the other thing is, again, like I might have already said this, but we would love to know like when you're brewing, or, and I feel like I keep saying brewing, but it could be cider. We would love to see other beverages. I really want to point that out. We would love to see other beverages. So I've been trying to get my wine friends to do wine for a while, or some sort of hopped liquor, or a cider or a kombucha. But basically, whenever you're doing your beverage making, like we would love to send a Pink Boots representative if we can. But we need to know when you're doing it. So like we would just, you know, ask that you kind of give us a heads up, and we'll be there if we can. And you know, you don't have to, you know, do this. I know a lot of breweries are smaller. Maybe they don't have a marketing team or something like that, but like reach out to the media and, you know, like let them know what you're doing, and hopefully they'll come and cover the event. And then, you know, that just gets kind of the whole project out there even more in the public eye.
So are there any stipulations on what we have to make or brew or cider or ferment?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, it's totally up to you. So the one nice thing about the hops is that they're usually really high in alpha acid. So that means they're really good for bittering if you're brewing, but they also, my dogs are whining too, because I'm sitting in front of my dinner. But they're usually really like citrusy and floral, because they tend to be mostly like American hops, so hop varieties. So they're citrusy, they're floral, they're really good for dry hopping. So it really lends itself to be good for any type of beer. So like one year we did an American Pale Ale, and then another year we did a Maibach. So honestly, you could do pretty much anything. It's up to you. We would love to see fun stuff.
Yeah. Do you have a set like itinerary of what you would suggest people to do on a brew day? Or is there anything that, like you mentioned doing some education, but is there anything you think would be like a good itinerary for a brew day?
I think for me, it's been a little different with my experience, because in the past, I've brewed a lot with women that were not brewers. So I had like winemakers and I had a distiller. So they didn't know anything about brewing in general. So it was a lot of just like learning about the process. And that's the other thing too. Like if you have women or non-binary folks in your place of business that want to join in, but they're not brewers or, you know, distillers or whatever, like, you know, they can totally join in, and that's a great teaching opportunity for them. But I honestly, for me, I think going somewhere and having coffee and some sort of like breakfast is always amazing. So I try to bring treats. Last year, everyone brought like some beer or wine from, you know, their establishment. And then we kind of did like some tastings throughout the day. Yeah. What else?
My favorite's always brewer's breakfast.
What is that?
Brewer's breakfast?
Yeah. What's that?
You never had brewer's breakfast?
Apparently not.
So it's like the wort, and then like
okay.
Jameson.
And what do you put in it?
Jameson or like a whiskey.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And then you like sip it or do like a little shot with it, or yeah. So every
in the morning.
Yeah, Pink Boots brew day I've been to, we always have brewer's breakfast.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So you take the nice warm wort, and then you mix it with a little bit of whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to remember that.
Yeah.
For next week.
It's always in my favorite. Like, it's just like a cool thing that I don't think you would ever really get to do otherwise.
Well, yeah, because you don't have access to that like hot wort really any other time. Yeah. I mean, I think like if you have a large enough facility, like you could do a tour. You could show like, you know, where the packaging happens or whatever. You know, if you have like materials that you can put out for people to like look through that are like sensory or, you know, like hop related, I think that's always fun. I mean, most places have some pellets on hand, so it's always fun to kind of just like rub those and, you know, smell them, just even for not a brew day. But yeah, so I don't know, like whatever you can do to make it fun. And if you could get someone to come in and like do like a little chat. I know one of our ambassadors in Edmonton is going to a brew day next week, and so she's going to kind of just talk about like what Pink Boots is and why you should join. So yeah, things like that.
Could we send those materials to people if they needed them for their brew day?
Yes, that is a great question. Yeah, so we have little like rack cards, and then we have business card size cards, and then we do have some stickers. So if you're interested in having those to like give out to your participants, and I usually bring those too because I have them and I'll set them out. You can email us at that brewing@pinkbootscanada.ca email, and we have ambassadors in almost every province right now, and so they can kind of get them to like more quickly than like say I could. But you know, you can request that we send you like a little fun like merch envelope, and then you can have that at your brew day. Totally.
Needy.
I'm doing the same thing here.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you would want people to know for their brew day or for their release or anything like that?
I think honestly, it's really just kind of like keeping us in the loop because we want to support what you're doing. So we want to be able to share it on our social media. And obviously if you're releasing a beverage, like we want to come and try it. So that's, you know, something we would try and do. The big thing too is like the donation. And I didn't mention this because I forgot, but when you register for brew day and you commit to making a donation, there's no minimum amount. So a lot of places will do, you know, like $1 a pint, or, you know, $10 a keg, whatever, you know, 25 cents a pint, you know, that kind of thing, which is great. Or you could just say, like, at the end of it, okay, we're going to do like a one lump sum of however much. So there's no like minimum for you to donate. We just appreciate everything. So make sure that you do actually make that donation. We'll follow up with you, but if you make your brew like now and you release it in a month, you still have until the end of the year to donate. So, you know, don't feel like there's this urgency. But I would just say, like, I mean, make it fun. And like I said, we would love to see like non-beer beverages out there, just because, you know, Pink Boots is for everyone in fermentation, not just beer. So like, you know, whatever you can come up with would be amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Tammy, for taking the time out of your evening to do this.
Yeah,
And we will put a link to your email so that if anybody has further questions, they can contact you. And I hope everyone's brew day goes great.
yeah, next week is going to be busy, I think, for a lot of us. So
I think it's going to be crazy.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to 2. So
All right. Awesome.
yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Great.